Well, let's dive right into this. We all know that deeply exhausting frustration of feeling completely stuck in a cycle of delay, right? We usually just call it laziness, or maybe a lack of discipline. But today, we're going to completely reframe that struggle. We're going to break down the illusion of laziness and uncover the three actual roots of our inertia. I mean, think about it. Have you ever noticed how every beautifully designed planner, every complex app or productivity hack eventually just fails you? Sure, maybe they worked for a few days. You felt like you were finally getting your life together. But then, boom, you're right back to endlessly scrolling, putting things off, and just feeling totally demoralized. We treat procrastination like a fever. You pop a pill to bring the temperature down, and you feel okay for a couple of hours. But the fever comes roaring back because that underlying infection, it was never actually treated.
The reality is, treating the symptoms with timers and to-do lists isn't inherently bad, but it completely misses the deep-seated origins of our behavior. To actually stop feeling stuck, we have to go way beneath the surface and treat the three roots: our identity, our tolerance for boredom, and our hidden fears.
So, let's start with the first root, reprogramming your true identity.
Real, lasting change isn't about white-knuckling your way through new habits using sheer willpower. It's about shifting who you believe you are at your very core. You don't procrastinate because you're a procrastinator. You procrastinate because your brain believes you're a procrastinator. And actually, that is a massive difference. This corrupted identity didn't just appear overnight. It was built over years of tiny, seemingly harmless broken promises to yourself. You said you'd wake up early? You hit snooze. You said you'd work? You watch TV. And eventually, you just internalized this as a permanent personality trait. You started thinking, well, this is just who I am.
Most people try to change their lives completely backward. They obsess over the final results or the daily habits. But think of your mind like a computer program. If the underlying code is corrupted, the system is going to keep crashing, right? Your actions stem directly from your core beliefs, what you truly think you're capable of. You can't just slap a bunch of healthy habits on top of a mental operating system that is constantly running in "I'm a procrastinator" script. It literally will not hold. You have to update the core program.
So how do we update it? Step one is absolute clarity. Who is the exact version of yourself that you want to become? How does that person handle discomfort? Here is the absolutely crucial part. You have to physically write this down by hand. It acts as a concrete decree to your mind. Your brain actually takes what is physically written on paper far more seriously than a passing thought. From that exact moment, every single tiny positive action you take becomes undeniable new evidence to overwrite that old corrupted program.
Which brings us to the second root, reclaiming your boredom tolerance. Okay, so modern life has completely hijacked our natural focus. We constantly confuse laziness with something entirely different. Laziness sounds like this fixed, unchangeable trait, right? But the truth is, procrastination often just comes down to a really low tolerance for boredom, and that is a highly trainable skill. Look, you already have intense focus. You can effortlessly scroll social media or binge a show for 6 hours straight. You don't lack focus. Your focus has just been exclusively trained for instant gratification.
And modern technology is literally engineered to exploit this. Every notification is a quick 2-second dopamine hit. Imagine you have two buttons in front of you. Button A requires 2 solid hours of intense effort for a reward you won't even see for 6 months. Button B requires absolutely zero effort, just unlocking your phone for a massive reward in 2 seconds. Our brains are biologically wired to conserve energy, so of course they resist sitting down to study when an easier path is literally right there in the palm of your hand.
But here is the unglamorous reality we just have to accept. Excellence is preceded by boredom. Mastery is preceded by repetition. There's no way around it. Every extraordinary person you look up to endured long, boring stretches of repetitive tasks before they ever saw any success. Your success in life is directly tied to your capacity to sit with discomfort and boredom without instantly running away.
Practically speaking, your goal right now isn't flawless execution. It's just showing up. If you sit down for 15 minutes to tackle a dreaded project, and you feel this overwhelming, almost physical urge to grab your phone, that is not a sign of weakness. That is the exact moment your discipline muscle is being trained. Just like a bicep only grows when it's placed under heavy resistance, your prefrontal cortex, the disciplined center of your brain, physically strengthens when you sit with that urge and consciously choose not to give in.
Now, let's strip away the armor for the third root, facing the emotional shadow. This is where we get really vulnerable. Underneath it all, procrastination is rarely about laziness, Most of the time, it's rooted in low self-esteem seeking absolute protection. When you don't trust yourself, your mind creates a brilliant but super destructive shield, procrastination. Because as long as you never really try, you never have to confirm your worst fears. Every delay is just hiding those devastating, quiet questions. What if I actually can't do it? What if people judge me? What if I'm just not good enough? And this triggers an incredibly cruel, self-fulfilling loop. By procrastinating to avoid confirming our fears, we practically guarantee the exact failure we're terrified of. Step 1, you avoid what scares you. Step 2, because you avoid it, you don't practice and you don't grow. Step 3, you create the exact negative outcome you were trying to escape in the first place. It's a snowball effect, and it completely shatters your confidence.
The only way out of this trap? You have to stop waiting to feel ready. Let me tell you a secret. You will never feel fully ready. You have to start exposing yourself to the work, even while you are absolutely terrified. True self-esteem is never built from repeating positive affirmations in the mirror. It is built from accumulating concrete, undeniable proof that you can survive hard things. Every time you face a challenge, even if you mess it up, your brain logs that data and says, okay, I survived that. I did it.
So how do we start building that proof today? Let's talk about the micro-action revolution, breaking inertia.
To finally break out of this rut, your first move is to immediately trade perfection for excellence. Perfection is a toxic, paralyzing standard. It's this belief that you have to get everything flawlessly right on the very first try, which just keeps you glued to the couch. Excellence is totally different. Excellence is simply doing the absolute best you can with the energy, conditions, and knowledge you have today, and just choosing to be a tiny bit better tomorrow.
When you have a massive, overwhelming project looming over you, shrink it. Seriously, shrink it down to a ridiculously small size. Don't think about writing a 10-page essay. Just decide to open a blank document and type one single sentence. Don't think about a grueling 1-hour workout. Just make the incredibly small decision to put on your running shoes. Breaking inertia is always the hardest part. Psychology tells us that once a task is simply started, the mind develops a natural gravitational pull toward actually finishing it. You just have to start. And that leaves us with this final, powerful thought. Procrastination never disappears because you found some magic productivity hack or the perfect morning routine. It disappears when you update your corrupted identity. It disappears when you finally train your brain to sit with boredom. But most importantly, it disappears when you become the kind of person who no longer needs it as a shield against the fear of not being enough. You are more than capable of doing hard things. So the only question left is, what is the smallest possible micro-action you can take today to prove it to yourself?